Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And coming up on today's episode, we're going to talk about Mormons and torture.
Yeah.
And that's not their 3-hour marathon session church.
Oh, it's
torture.
not?
No.
I thought that's
But
what we were
Mormons
going for.
Mormons clearly, they
They
understand.
know how to torture.
They
Boy,
know
if-
how to endure torture.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. Yeah,
So-
yeah. You put me in that in that torture chamber, and let me tell you something. I'm not gonna talk.
No,
I grew up Mormon.
you
You can't break me. I was in church for 3 hours every Sunday.
Yeah, the most boring
The most
of
boring
kinds
of all
of
of the churches.
Yeah.
For 3 hours every Sunday since childhood.
Yeah.
I can take it.
Woo.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It is impressive. I'm a very impressive guy. It's amazing.
Yep.
What do you got?
Well, I want to start with a story from a prominent Mormon.
Ooh.
Since we're talking about the Mormons,
Sure.
who has issued a statement. He's pleading for the release of the interview.
We're talking about
Mitt Romney is desperately wanting to see the interview.
well, I mean, with Seth Rogen and
He's a fan.
James Franco at
He's
the
a
helm.
big fan. No, he loves those guys.
Who wouldn't call for the release of that film?
This is the film, of course, that is about. It's basically the thing that got them into some trouble is that it depicts the assassination of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
Dear leader.
The dear leader, yeah, or the most dear, whatever it is.
Right.
And that's a little bit of a spoiler alert, I guess.
Not really. Well, I mean,
It's not.
I guess you don't necessarily know that he
You
dies.
don't know that they successfully assassinated him.
But I mean, the trailer gives away the fact that the setup is that a bumbling journalist and his bumbling producer
Yep.
are sent into North Korea and are tasked with killing
Yeah.
Kim, Mr.
Well, they're the
Mr.
one.
Kim.
They get the somehow they land the interview.
Right.
Right. And then the CIA is like, well, these are the two bozos we have to work with.
Right.
It's kind of a fun setup.
It's cute.
It's a good setup.
I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, meh. But now,
Well, now
Sony Pictures is not going to
caved.
release it.
They have caved
because they've been hacked. They're very uncomfortable with being with hacking.
Well, the problem is what's being released by the hackers. They got into like their Sony's email database, and
took you a second to get that word.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was trying to come up with the right word for it, but
Sure.
that's the only one that came to mind. Into their database, and they have been releasing embarrassing emails that have been sent internally at Sony, where they like make racist comments about the president and that kind of stuff. So, not cool.
No.
Not cool. That's bad. Bad on Sony. But at this point, so this is actually what Mitt Romney tweeted. That's how he got this message out. This man is hip.
He knows. He's down with the kids.
Yeah. He says it says Sony Pictures, don't cave, fight. Release the interview free online globally. Ask viewers for voluntary $5 contribution to fight Ebola.
What? What? Okay. What's funny is that like at first when you started reading this, I'm like, I'm actually agreeing with Mitt Romney because I think they absolutely should release the film.
They should not cave.
It's ridiculous that they would cave.
Yeah.
However, release it for free online and then ask for donations for what the fuck are you talking about? Like
Ebola.
Like he was on the right
turning
track
this into an Ebola thing.
and then he just went like crazy.
Yeah.
He's like the guy who, just opened.
Hey, I got an idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I got an idea.
is it some sort of exercise in free association? Is he on some like beatnik poet sort of tweeting thing or whatever?
Well, he's also not the only U.S. official or lawmaker who.
Well, he's not a lawmaker, by the way.
I guess he's not an official either, but
But he's a prominent politician.
Politician. There you go. But he's not the only person who has decided to jump into this whole thing and to say that and to just denounce basically what Sony has done in the whole caving thing. We've had Steve Israel from New York. He's a representative. He says that Sony should release straight to DVD. Dear Sony Pictures, please make the interview movie available in DVD so I can decide whether to see it. Not North Korea.
What? Why DVD? Why are these people not calling for it to go to the theater as planned?
Well, because they probably got onto Rotten Tomatoes and saw that it has like a 53% freshness rating. So it's not actually going to be a very good movie. Sadly.
No, of course it's not. But you release the damn film. It'll make its money. It'll do just fine.
Especially now. I'm wondering if this isn't actually part of a very clever marketing ploy by Sony.
Well, but Sony hasn't announced that they're going to release it, have they?
No, pull it.
You pull it and then
get everybody to be like, "No, we have to see it because it's a bad movie. It's a terrible movie."
They're like,
right?
"How are we?" Yeah, but it would have sold anyway. No matter what, it was going to sell. This thing was always going to sell.
It was going to do just fine. But now I'll go see it.
Yeah.
If it released in theaters, I would go see it now. At this point.
Oh my god!
And that I would not have done. I would have told. That's a film you just wait for it to come around and be like, I was always kind of curious about that one. And, and watch it.
Yeah, when it comes out
Netflix,
on Netflix or something.
When it's basically free to watch.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's not the kind of company that's going to throw away a whole bunch of money because they got hacked. I wouldn't think.
Well, maybe they'll just like secure up their servers.
Yeah,
and then
that's what they're waiting for. They're like, hey, we need to unhackableize ourselves. I'm surprised that we haven't heard Anonymous get involved in this.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Anonymous needs to like go after this in some way, in whatever clever way they would.
Yeah, but this is it's all because some dictator has like a crazy ego. And doesn't want this movie that shows his death getting out there?
Right, exactly. It won't even be shown. You know you're safe in your country because nobody's going to see it there.
You can watch the death scene. It's on YouTube. I watched it. I watched his body dissolve in flames. So
it doesn't even look like him.
It's actually, they did not get a very good one, did they?
No.
Actor.
It was. I mean, honestly, Margaret Cho, when she was Kim Jong-un on 30 Rock, looked more like him.
And that was also brilliant.
That was, absolutely. Anyway, moving right along.
Okay.
I'm going to go to Kansas, Dateline Topeka.
Oh, beautiful Topeka.
Where a federal judge, so there was a lawsuit brought against the State Board of Education, which last year adopted standards of science. And anytime I hear the term Kansas Board of Education and science, I get a little itchy. Yeah. I get a little worried.
It's probably not going to go well.
You'd think not. Well, no. Turns out they adopted guidelines that made sense, that were like, 25 other states adopted the same guidelines, and the National Research Council developed them.
Okay.
With these 25 states.
Okay.
So they're good, but they treat and this is a good thing, they treat both evolution and climate change as key scientific concepts to be taught from kindergarten through 12th grade.
Okay.
So
is there another
they're
shoe here?
Teaching science.
Wow.
Right. Well, we can't have that in Kansas. So, of course, a group called, and I think you'll appreciate this name, Citizens for Objective Public Education.
Oh, very objective, I'm sure.
They really want it to be objective.
With a name like that, I guarantee you it's not going to be.
No. They are the ones who are filing a lawsuit saying that these science teachings are trying to indoctrinate their kids into a quote non-theistic worldview, and said that that it was a message of endorsement of science.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Endorsing science. It's terrible for the schools to be
awful.
doing. Anyway, so they
Awful.
brought this lawsuit. The good news is, and I like bringing good news around the holidays, a federal judge on Tuesday dismissed the lawsuit,
Oh, okay, good.
saying, yeah. So,
Saying what?
well, he just ruled that the group, and it was brought by this group and then some parents and some other taxpayers. They said that they did not claim specific enough injuries from the adoption of the guidelines.
Oh, okay.
Meaning, like, you can't just feel grumpy about it and then bring a lawsuit.
I thought that was a guaranteed. That was a guaranteed right.
I have the right to bring a lawsuit.
I'm feeling grumpy today.
This makes me mad and makes my feelings go. It makes me feeling.
Yeah, indeed.
So, there you go. Triumph in Kansas. Well, go Kansas.
Yeah. Good Kansas.
Yeah. You and I have been to Kansas.
Yeah. I've been to Kansas a few times in my life.
We had a good time,
We did have a good time in Kansas.
at a couple places
Yeah.
with some lovely people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, I would like to now take us to Australia. News. The news this week, of course, had the terrible incident in Sydney with the cafe siege,
Right.
where 3 people wound up dead after a hostage taker held. I can't remember the number of people, but it lasted about 16, 17 hours.
Yeah.
There were 17 people for 16 hours. Hello. Those
There
two
you go.
numbers. That's why they were in my head. Well, there's some links to Islam with the whole thing, and the hostage taker played on some ISIL symbolism,
Right.
in order to make sure, or in order to make people believe that this was like terrorism related, I guess.
You mean on a larger scale?
On a
than
larger
just
scale than
a
just
single guy.
one guy going to do his little thing.
Because I think one guy can still count as terrorism if he's
Sure,
acting this way, but
linked to global terrorism,
right, yeah,
which apparently I guess it really wasn't. But everybody's worried at this point about backlash to the Muslim community, because with other incidents that have happened around the world and also in Australia, there has been a little bit of a backlash. But this time, Australians have been quick to show support for the Muslim community in Australia.
wow,
And the solidarity campaign is using the hashtag "I'll ride with you" on Twitter, meaning I'll ride on public transport with you.
Okay.
This is, I guess, as it was sparked by someone who noticed a Muslim woman taking her headscarf off before getting onto public transit. And she was kind of disturbed by that, and she didn't want anybody to feel fearful,
right?
Just getting onto public transit, and so she started this meme, and I guess very quickly is like, no, I don't want attention for it, and is declining, media requests and whatnot. But it's kind of interesting. It looks like they're doing it right this time, because if you're going to live in a multicultural country, that's
You
what
got
you
to
have to
embrace the cultures.
Yeah, and you have to recognize when events are isolated and that it's those people involved and not the whole community. So that was
not in America.
we don't.
America, it's a melting pot, and if you ain't melted yet, get out.
Yeah,
You gotta get in here and you gotta assimilate.
And that is the difference between the United States and Australia. Clearly,
Well, yeah, I'm sure there are many differences between the United States and Australia.
I just thought that was a really nice, very very positive story.
Sure. Well, it puts me in mind of you remember being in Salt Lake City after 9/11, and there was one big incident of like anti-Muslim violence where someone like threw a brick through the window of a curry shop owned by some Pakistanis, I think.
Oh,
Do you remember Curry in a Hurry? Got attacked.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Anyway, so that did happen. But what's nice is that the follow-up to that was that hundreds of people showed up with like flowers for them.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the community really rallied in support of them.
Huh.
So,
Huh.
way to go, backfire a Rooney. Which is what I'm apparently calling the guy that busted their window.
Yeah. Good. That's a good nickname, Dan.
Yeah, I'm good at
It's
those.
really.
I'm clearly off the cuff. I can really come up with some really good nicknames.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna head to Iran, which is known for its religious tolerance, etc.
Yeah.
Strangely, this story does not involve tolerance. It's weird because Iran's such a. I was gonna say a Mecca.
Oh no! Yeah. Well, I was going to say that it's the Australia of the Middle East.
It is in the sense that their all of their policies are so upside down. That you could say that they are down under. So
damn.
It's because hey, Australia, you guys are all upside down. I don't know if you know that. Anyway, a man in Iran named Sohail Arabi, a blogger of 30 years.
He's been blogging for 30 years?
Maybe.
That's impressive.
All I really know is that he is 30 years old and he's a blogger.
Okay.
He was convicted in August of the crime of putting offensive material on Facebook.
What did he put on Facebook?
It
was so offensive.
It was stuff. It was basically stuff about Islam and about the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
He put.
Did he realize he was treading into incredibly dangerous territory?
He must have, because I don't think anyone in Iran, least of all a blogger, is ignorant of the fact that you can be in trouble for that.
Okay.
I don't think he realized he would be sentenced to execution.
Oh dear God, are you serious?
Yeah. So he's been convicted of sowing corruption on earth.
Okay.
Which apparently the laws can be real easy to sort of mold to how you want them to, if you're a judge there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And he was found guilty of these crimes. And now, mind you, the Islamic Penal Code, the Article 262 of it, says that insulting the Prophet carries a death sentence. But if the words were said in anger, as a quotation, or by mistake, then the punishment is only 74 lashes.
So you can be angry.
Oh,
and
man.
That's fine.
Fuck Muhammad. And then oh, shit, I'll take my lashes now. Okay.
74 of them? Oh, sure. Okay.
But if you say, no, I wasn't angry. I was just I was mildly frustrated. Death. Death.
And they have such an amazingly nuanced legal system.
They do. They really do.
Wow. Okay.
Were you mad when you said this? I sentenced you to death. Oh, wait.
Claim anger.
Were you mad?
Your attorney is just like, we plead anger.
Right. Yeah.
He was typing ferociously.
He was. Now, he claims that he was, Arabi claims that he was in, quote, poor physical condition, or sorry, psychological condition, not physical, psychological condition when he wrote these things.
Okay.
Probably meaning he was mad. I mean...
Well, apparently poor psychological situation is not a defense.
Well, I mean, you'd have to be in poor psychological condition to do this in Iran.
Yeah, no, well, okay.
But there you go. He as of right now, he looks like he's going to die. There have been numerous requests for this to be commuted, for his sentence to be commuted.
Why don't they just start maybe with I don't know, exile? Why don't they just start kicking people out?
Oh no, they want to punish people. Kicking people out. That's gold. That's like rewarding people.
Yeah. Oh, you're allowed to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we're so sorry for having detained you.
That's it. You have to go to a place where you have
years.
free speech.
Yeah.
Haha, enjoy your new country.
But I'm just saying, like, it seems like death. Am I thinking of like a death penalty in this kind of thing? It's just like in too practical of terms that it's just like they want to. They don't want that person amongst them anymore, or are they thinking of it in more sort of a religious thing where it's like you've offended,
All of
Muhammad
us,
and,
right?
Allah and all this kind of stuff, and so therefore you must die. We're doing this for you.
Right. Well,
This is for you.
I think it's more. I'm guessing that it's about. If we're going to say it's a religious thing, it's not that we're doing this for you. It's we're doing this because we're commanded to do it by Allah. But I think it's much more about sending the chilling message to the rest of the country.
Don't do it.
Don't fuck with us.
Yeah, probably.
Any which way, whether no matter what the reason,
Right.
he's not in good shape.
All right. Moving to another story of blasphemy, I suppose. There is a new book out by Mormon blogger Jana Reese. And it's called The Twible. All the chapters in the Bible in 140 characters or less. Now with 68% more humor.
Wow. That might actually be readable. I might be able to get through that.
And apparently it's not terribly new. I guess it's been out for a year. But I just saw an ad for it on her blog and was like, what is that? What is that? It has 4 stars currently on Amazon. From 31 customer reviews.
Okay.
If you are a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, you could just check it out. You don't even have to pay her.
Okay.
So I would recommend doing that. But anyways, I wanted to read a couple things.
A couple chapters.
Oh my God. Not chapters. So the whole thing about this is that it's meant to be really brief, right?
Sure.
And so here are she takes 7 words to describe every book of the Bible.
Oh.
So like Exodus, for example, we're so out of here, Pharaoh. Are her 7 words.
Right.
Leviticus, don't screw this, don't touch that.
Okay.
That's actually only 6 words, but I guess it's 7 words max. Let's see what else.
These are basically the chapter headings for each book. Or
Ruth, foreign girl wins The Bachelor, Israeli edition. This book is it's clearly so funny. First Samuel, please, can we have a king now?
I guess that might be really funny. I don't remember First Samuel, so I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm
sure it's
not
funny.
getting the reference,
I'm
Frank.
sure it's really, really, really funny. In the New Testament, Matthew, introducing ... Jesus Christ, Son of God, Messiah! ! Mark, like Matthew, but with more rigorous editing. Luke, beloved gospel of women and poor people. Yeah, anyways.
There you go.
And some examples of some of the you just gotta hear some of these. It's so good.
Some of the chapter tweets.
Oh, some of the tweets are just so crazy good. Let me see if I can find them. Let's see. So she's trying to mimic. Well, except she doesn't even make him tweety, which is weird. She's not over abbreviating and all that kind of using the letter R for ARE. Right. So This is, oh my God. It's the only one that I can get because it's Amazon and it will only give me like random examples.
Uh-huh.
This is from, I don't know what book it is. JC opens a scroll, unleashing a can of whoop ass, and G starts pouring out judgment on nations. Can we roll that scroll right back up? Oh, this is from Revelations.
I was going to say.
Only 144,000 are saved. Statistically, the chance you'll be in this group is negligible, so don't break out the white robe just yet. That's for chapter 7.
There you go.
10. No, not that one. That one. Yeah. Anyways, so it's but the really good stuff. This is where it gets really good.
Okay.
Is she has some quotes, some pull quotes for the back of the book from people who are like endorsing the book. So this one is from Hemant Mehta.
Oh.
I wouldn't object to if Twybles were in every hotel room. That's what he said about it. And then this one, she actually got a pull quote from Jesus Christ himself.
Oh, that's good.
It says, "The Twyble is the most entertaining version of my dad's book I've read in the last 2 millennia."
Wow. Hey, that's a pretty good endorsement right there. He doesn't do a lot of those.
He doesn't. I don't even know how to process this.
You can't tell if you like it or not?
Well,
if you like the idea?
The problem is it's coming from this really sort of sweet, shucks Mormon perspective.
Right.
Where she doesn't even realize how far across the line with like blasphemy she has like just gone.
I don't think she's blaspheming. She's just being clever about summarizing.
Maybe not blasphemy. How sort of irreverent? Unreverent. It's not irreverent. She's not. This is very, very, very. It just seems so weird from a believer who comes from a religion that will only read the King James version of the Bible.
Right.
Right. And maybe this is her little pushback to that. Yeah, in English. But
wouldn't it be funny if the Mormons actually embraced a more modern language version of the Bible, which would the reason this would be hugely problematic. I hadn't even thought of this before, but the reason that Mormons can't embrace a more modern language version of the Bible, translation of the Bible, is because their stupid Book of Mormon is inexplicably written in 15th century 15th century language.
Yeah, no.
There's just no reason why it is.
Right.
I mean, it was translated theoretically from ancient Reformed Egyptian into like English, but like by a guy in the 1800s.
It should have been written in 1800s English.
You'd think.
Yeah.
But then you get all these and thous and verilies and whatnot, stuff that nobody was saying in.
Right, but it was Joseph Smith trying to make it sound like
Bible-y.
Like what he thought in his head was a religious text.
Which is why so they can't retranslate the Book of Mormon. They don't have the source material anymore.
Right.
So they're stuck with that.
Right.
So they can't retranslate the Bible or it won't match.
Right.
It doesn't match up. That's pretty funny. All right. Well, I kind of want to see this Twyble. I don't know. Maybe we should buy it. Well,
I don't want to see it.
Okay. Fine. I'll go to Barnes and Noble and see if I can find it there or something. Just look at it for a little bit. Okay, so you're coming out anti-Twyble.
I'm coming out against it, yeah, because I don't know. Like she's having like fun. Here's how it offends me. This is actually how it offends me.
Okay.
I'm going to give up trying to be offended on some sort of like religious grounds because that's just clearly trumped up. It offends me because she's not funny.
Oh.
And the Bible needs to be made fun of.
Okay.
Right? And instead she's cute.
You need an anti
And so
Bible twible.
yeah, like
Okay.
she's just like going through and just being like all like, oh shucks, look at this, and being mildly irreverent about some of the stuff, and about kind of oh hey Jesus, and oh God, you kind of maybe shouldn't have done that, with killing off like tribes of ancient people and the Old Testament and whatnot. It just misses the mark for me. Like the few of these that I've been able to read just by hitting, on Amazon, there's you can
The preview
it has the preview, and it has sort of a fixed set of pages that it'll show you.
Right.
But over to the side, you can press this little surprise me button, and it'll show you random pages inside the book.
Sure.
So the few that have shown up from that, it's just uninteresting.
Okay. There you go.
So that's why I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah. Well, I would give it a shot myself. I would just see, because I have a few Mormon friends who are actually capable of being really funny about it. So maybe I don't know. Anywho, we'll move on. Okay. I'm gonna go to Lansing, Michigan, where So here's the dealio. The Michigan, there's been just a lovely little thing that's happened. A wealthy benefactor, unnamed, in the few articles that I found, had planned to do a nativity on the Michigan state Capitol grounds.
Okay.
So this was announced. There was going to be this nativity. So the local chapter of Lucian Greaves' Satanic Temple decided, well, fine, we're going to put one up too. Now, they already had one. The Satanic Temple has already successfully gotten their little diorama into the Florida State Capitol building, so that's kind of funny,
right?
So they're working on Michigan. Well, there suddenly was a problem, which is that the guy who was going to do the nativity scene in Michigan actually didn't realize he's not in the state, and didn't realize that there's a weird law there's a Michigan law that says that any display like this can't be permanent, and therefore has to be taken down each night and put back up each day.
Okay.
So he couldn't make that happen.
Oh no.
So he backs out, but the Satanic Temple people still have their thing. So suddenly it's just going to be Satan represented on the Capitol lawn in Michigan. Well, so apparently State Senator Rick Jones could not have that.
Okay.
He said, quote, "I believe they are trying to hijack a holy Christian holiday by putting their display up." So he has contacted the people at the Capitol, and he will be putting up a display and taking it down.
Good.
So it won't just be Satan.
Oh my God.
In the Christmas season, in Michigan, it was pretty fun. It's pretty funny. The display that the Satanic Temple people came up with for Florida, I found kind of disappointing. It looked like a school diorama of like somebody falling into the fires of hell or something like that. It looked, and that to me was kind of missing the point of what the Satanic Temple people have been doing for the past little while, which is they're not touting hell, they're not touting fire and stuff. They're touting knowledge, and they're touting exploration and stuff. And so this one I'm a little more happy about. I think the point is that the display has to be scary enough to Christians that they don't want to allow it.
Right.
Because the goal isn't to put more satanic things up.
No.
It's to get the Christian things down.
Just to stop and to be fearful that there's going to be a satanic one.
Right.
Or just
have to think about
a little empathy building. Just processing it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it builds. I don't think the Satanists are building any empathy. But what they are doing is
it puts you in the position of having to go, oh wait, there are multiple different views, and I don't agree with all of them.
Right.
So maybe it's just best if I back off pushing my view in the public sphere because I really don't want them to be either.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
It makes it's
specifically empathy, but
it makes them think twice, though.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're making all of these legislators. I mean, the more publicity they get, the more a legislator who's, their first impulse is like, I'm gonna put a Jesus up, and then their second impulse is like, shit, they're gonna put up the Satan, and these guys are so good. So yeah, this one's just it's got a pentagram in the background and then a snake, like a red snake wrapped around and holding a book. To indicate knowledge, to represent knowledge.
Oh,
and I think the snake represents the snake in the Garden of Eden, who, if you read, the Garden of Eden story from a Satanist perspective, it's a story about an omnipotent God who's trying to withhold knowledge from people.
Right.
And a nice snake who's like, hey, I know how to get the knowledge. All you have to do is bite the apple and you're good.
Right.
So I just love that. I love that there was like a minute and a half where it looked like it was just going to be Satan represented. I just think that's kind of delightful.
Oh my God. So yeah.
So
Yeah, that's scary enough looking. I just looked up.
Yeah.
That does the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not so much the stuff in the foreground, but that thing in the background.
Yeah, with the pentagram and the sort of the goat-headed thing.
Oh, no. That thing freaks me out. The greatest gift is knowledge. Hey, that's a good sentiment. Yeah.
Isn't that a nice thing?
Yeah.
Oh, God bless him.
Huh.
All right.
Huh.
Well, if you guys have anything you'd like to say to us or, wish us a happy Satan-mas or whatever, you can contact us. You can write into us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Yes, not too much on the voicemail this week, so maybe, if you feel the impulse, call us.
Yeah, get it in.
Let us hear your voice. You can also go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, or go to the TGIA Members Only Lounge, which has been booming. We had somebody write in this week asking. We had a couple people asking, well, how do I find the Members Only Lounge? It's you either search it on Facebook, TGIA Members Only Lounge, or you can go to facebook.com/groups/TGIA.membersonly.
Ah, okay.
So those are how you find us.
All right. Sounds great.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're gonna hear some Pat Robertson.
Little Patty break.
He always can chime in. We love to hear him, and of course we love it when he talks about the gays.
I would kill to have him on our show.
Crystal writes, I've been in church all my life with my family. We are not allowed to date. The only ones in my church that are married already knew their partners before coming into church. It is treated as a sin to show interest or have a mutual understanding in church with the opposite sex. Most of the people in the church are frustrated because we're getting older and no one is getting married. We pray about the issue, but it seems like it is bouncing back. What should I do?
Those who are homosexual will die out because they don't reproduce. You have to have heterosexual sex to reproduce. Same thing with that church. It's doomed. It's going to die out because this is the most nonsensical thing I have heard in a long time. This is absurd. God has made us to be in families. God has created a desire of men and women to have attraction to the opposite sex so that they will reproduce and have children. If I were you, I'd get out of that church as fast as I could, cast the dust of it on your feet, shake off the dust, and run.
Wow, okay.
I just think, okay, first of all, I don't think he's thought the whole homosexual thing through.
Well, no, but but what I love is that he can find. I would love to challenge him to just have a day where he ties in something gay to anything that he's talking about, because he's clearly talented at it.
No challenge at all. Yeah. He's got that one down.
Because he can tie in anything.
You're just like, hey, pasta. Talk about pasta and tie in the gay thing. Well, homosexuals were, they go out to eat all the time, and it makes them decadent. And then they can do anything. He can tie anything into that.
Yeah.
I do love the idea that Frank, you're gonna die out. There's gonna be no more gay people.
I know. Well,
because you don't reproduce.
We're our own unique species somehow. Like, where did we come from?
Right. Right.
Like,
where did you come from?
I don't know. It's so confusing.
From gay parents, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gay parents make gay kids.
Yeah.
But gay people don't have kids.
I know.
So
it's a terrible paradox here.
I think he's discovered the secret that will rip apart the fabric of the universe. And it's gays. That guy.
I mean, yeah.
It's
not like we have a lot of great answers about what makes somebody homosexual.
No.
But considering that we see homosexuality happening at the same rates the world over in everywhere you look, basically.
There's no homosexuality in North Korea.
Oh, well, you proved me wrong.
I proved you wrong. Also, I think
there's also no mentally handicapped people in North Korea. There are actually no physically handicapped people. There are no people with any kind of physical ailments in North Korea. They're amazing.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I also liked the fact that he's talking about this church where nobody seems to be able to get themselves married.
Weird. What is that?
He's right that will die out. Do you remember hearing about the Shakers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sort of branched off from the Quakers. But they had a really unique teaching, which was that everybody would be celibate.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
You're not going to last as a movement.
No.
With that.
No.
Joe Smith had the other way, and he thrived. He was like, not only are we having sex, but you, and you, and you, and you three over there, and all of you, marry me. We're all gonna have sex. We're gonna populate this, starting with me.
Yep. Indeed.
There you go. Well, we had some people writing into us and calling into us and whatnot. So I'm gonna jump into that. We heard from Travis, who was who referenced a thing from last week. He said, "I heard the email." He said, "Hi guys, I heard the email from Isa. I was struck by the email, particularly because it sounds like someone about my age. I'm an 18-year-old college student and have been an atheist for about 2 or 3 years. Being a young atheist in a religious home, I feel that I can somewhat understand Isa's feelings. In addition, I went through a period of depression and anxiety unrelated to religion, but today I'm happy to say that I'm happy. Well, I'm happy too about you're happy, Travis. Anyway, to begin with, it's important to realize that these sorts of feelings can be overcome. I did so with a little professional help, but mostly by by understanding myself and realizing that I don't have to care what a given person thinks of me. Subbing in God for a given person is the leap that has to be made. One thing that helped me with this was thinking of God as just a really powerful and intelligent person. Neither of those characteristics gives his opinion of me or plan for my life any inherent value. So the lack of existence of said opinion/plan really doesn't change much. In the same way that my opinion of myself matters a hell of a lot more than that of any random person. It also matters more than that of a god would. So I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
I thought that's a nice thing to tell our friend Isa, who was struggling last week.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you and I cured him last week of all of his struggles with our brilliant advice.
It's 30 seconds from Frank and Dan.
Hey, it's good for what ails you. I'll tell you what. I'll read another one, then you can do the voicemail. Hey, Frank and Dan, I was listening to your most recent podcast and wanted to chime in when you mentioned self-officiated weddings. I'll just chime in and say that I had talked about my wedding. Actually, both of my weddings took place in Colorado, where you don't need an officiant. You don't even need witnesses. You can just sign the damn paper and you're done.
Wild West.
I know, right? It's crazy out here. Sorry, Alicia, who's writing, says, but I wanted to give the perspective of someone who did it in the only other state to allow such a thing, Pennsylvania. PA also actually has self-officiated weddings because of a religion. The Society of Friends, i.e. the Quakers, have always had a special place here. Quakers have no official clergy, and anyone is free to speak at meetings, so they have no one person recognized to officiate wedding ceremonies either. In Quaker tradition, the couple marries themselves, which is something I can totally get behind. I do like the idea that our Mormon listeners will maybe go with me on this. The thought of anyone being allowed to speak in church, which happens in Mormon church because every month they have one service that is called testimony meeting, and just anybody can get up and say whatever they want. They've been trying to crack down on the whatever they want part, but boy, that can go horribly wrong.
It does, and it's awful.
It invariably, not invariably, but frequently goes askew.
I never attended a testimony meeting that was actually not nauseating in some way.
It's pretty bad.
Just because people get up and they say their own little stupid theories about anything and everything, and you always have that one member of the ward who pretty much goes up every single week. And she, ours was, what was her name? Carol.
Oh, Sister
Smith. If I want to say that her name was Carol Smith. And she, oh my God.
Yeah.
The thing, I remember something about her screen door at one time. She just talked about anything and everything. And then somehow at the very, very, very end, tied it back into, some faith, something or other.
Right.
There were all these faith-promoting stories always happening in her life, but they were just nonsensical and weird.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody was just like, oh.
I think they're cracking down on that now. You and I haven't been for a while, but my understanding is that they're asking their members not to tell big long stories. Because there used to be two kinds of testimony meeting. There were testimonies being born at the testimony meeting. Yeah. There was the by rote recite, sort of the thing that everybody says, and that's it. So get in and get out with I'd like to bear my testimony that I know this church is true, and that I know Joseph Smith was a true prophet, and that I know that this, our current prophet talks to God, and the Book of Mormon is true, and blah, blah, blah. Right. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Right.
And that was one kind.
And that's from your 10 to 14-year-olds, typically.
Right. And every now and then, there's some ward member who's terrified to get up in front of everybody, but realizes that they probably need to or whatever. And if it's an adult, it sounds more like, I just really felt impressed that I should get up in front of you. But they can keep it truncated. Even the adults can be like, I just want to bear my testimony that I know that this is a true church. And well, it's the same thing. It's just slower and more sincere.
Right.
However, then there's the other kind, which you're referencing, which is the, I just had a story I needed to tell you, brothers and sisters. This week, little Joseph and little Sarah were running around, and we were having such a great time. We were having a picnic, and I just suddenly felt this very dark feeling, and I knew something was very wrong, and I knew that the Spirit was telling me, and I went and found that Joseph had gotten into. He was hanging from a stick over the river, and I just knew, and if I hadn't been there to catch him, I just don't know what would have happened, and I'm so grateful for the Lord. Because Mormons cry.
Right.
If there's one thing you should learn about Mormons.
Oh, Mormons cry.
The men, the women, who would never cry in their home.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Never cry in front of their family.
And they start bawling.
They just, the waterworks come out, and it's so fucking confusing for Mormon kids. It's like their dad, who's stoic and downright mean half the time or whatever in the home, suddenly feels something, but not about them. No. He feels it about Jeebus.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so off track. Alicia, I'm sorry to have interrupted your email about that. You just got me on a tangent. So the Quakers, she says, thanks to the ACLU and one brave secular couple, Pennsylvania has been forced to recognize that they can't limit self-officiating licenses to just Quakers.
Okay.
So in July, my husband and I were free to pick up the license, have my in-laws sign as our 2 witnesses, and turn it in the next morning. It was a great way for us to get the legal protections of marriage without religion and without spending a day at the courthouse because the total stranger needs to legally preside over our marriage.
Right.
She does want us to know that before we think that the Quakers are all awesome, she says, in parentheses, although as far as religions go, they are one of the saner ones. And I agree with that, actually. I'm okay with the Quakers are kind of cool.
Yeah.
I should add that the downside to PA's love for the Quakers is that we're second only to you, meaning Utah, in terms of absurd liquor laws.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not quite Mormon crazy, but still pretty strict. I have heard that. And actually,
I did not know that.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to jump to the semi-defense of Utah's liquor laws. They're weird, but you can still get a drink here.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a single dry county.
No.
No. There's just weird rules.
Right.
It's not like...
The arbitrary and strange rules.
Yeah, that's what we got.
Just like, why?
It's not like so strict you can't get a drink. It's just like, so it's like, oh, that drink, oh, it's a restaurant? They can't mix the drink in front of you.
Right.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Well, there you
So
go.
there's a little opaque wall built up around the bar.
Right.
So the bartender can make the drink.
Right. If you're in a restaurant, you can still order a martini. You just can't watch them shake it.
Right. But if... Well, and that's a fairly new law, too.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of...
So
It's just always been
there's
weird
not
here.
that many restaurants.
You
that are
can't buy
actually
a
like
mini
that.
bottle. I
Well,
don't know
but
why.
But it used to be all mini bottles.
Yeah. For a minute, it was like, they were like...
But this was
Everything
like the
has-
70s.
Everything has to be mini bottles.
Yeah.
So you go into a bar and you had to just buy a mini bottle of
Yeah.
whatever liquor or whatever.
Yeah.
And now you just can't get one.
Right. They just go back and forth, and it's nutty and weird.
It just doesn't make any sense.
And that's yeah. Anyway.
Welcome to Utah.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to play the voicemail?
Yeah, this is from Mackenzie.
Hi, guys. It's Mackenzie. I just wanted to call and wish you guys happy holidays and also tell all of our listeners happy holidays. It's been a great year for TGIA, and I look forward to the next. So take care, whatever holiday you celebrate, or if you don't, and Happy New Year. Bye, guys.
Oh, thanks, Mackenzie.
It's Merry Christmas, Mackenzie. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yep.
No, thanks, Kens, for that. That's awesome. You all know her, right? Everybody knows who Mackenzie is, right?
Facebook guru.
Yeah, and she co-hosted with you on one show.
On a retrospective show back in March.
Yeah. Anyway, one last email. Frank and Dan. And Adam in parentheses. I just donated to your podcast because I really enjoy listening to you guys. I've been an atheist for just about 2.5 years now. I wanted to say that it's really great having such positive and fun people to listen to that I agree with so much. Thank you for all the work you put into the podcast. I hope eventually you become funded by supporters and can quit your jobs. Thanks. And that's from Elizabeth.
Well, yeah, I like that sentiment.
I really do too. And considering that she was the only donor this week, I unfortunately, well, that's we thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes,
but
thank you very much.
It looks like we're not quitting our jobs anytime soon. She donated, by the way, in Adrian Salton's name. So,
okay.
So I just wanted to make that clear. Generous one-time donation. So thank you very
Fantastic.
much, Elizabeth.
All right.
And the rest of you, do you hear the jingling of bells? It's a good. I say every time you walk right past one of those stupid bell ringers in front of a
Salvation
store, from the
Army.
Salvation Army. Make sure, first of all, you don't give money to them. The Salvation Army
is not a nice group.
They're not nice. They're
No.
anti-gay and anti a bunch of things,
Yeah.
and they're very churchy. And
Yeah.
it's giving to a church. You're giving to a church. Don't give to a church.
You probably didn't realize that.
Right.
Most people don't.
Right.
But it'd be like the Catholics standing on the corner.
Yeah.
Or
Don't.
the Baptists standing on the corner collecting money. Weird.
I'm all for charitable giving. Find a good secular charity to give to,
Yeah.
or I'm going to say you can also give to us if you want this. If you want to be part of keeping this project going of ours.
I like or.
Give
to them or give to us.
Or
it's a binary world that we live in.
It's
one or
your
the
job
other.
to decide what to do with your money. So do what you will. But if you want to give to us, you can go to facebook.com/ or not. Yeah, no. You
ThankGodI'mAtheist.com.
Yeah, go to that place. ThankGodI'mAtheist.com, and then you can click on the donate, the support tab.
Yeah.
Or if you've got an Android and you're listening to us on the Joyride app,
Yeah,
you can just donate straight through the app.
right through the player. Apparently, I haven't seen the thing because I don't have an Android device.
I know neither of us has been able to do it, but
apparently there's a button right there.
and
They make it super easy.
yeah. So go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, there you go. What are we were talking about? Some Mormons.
Mormons and Tartar.
The recent horrifying study. Not study. What is it? It's a paper. It's a congressional.
Yeah, they released a report.
Report.
There you go.
This by the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Right.
Is that right?
I believe.
Did I get that right?
I believe you got most of those details pretty good.
Right. So they came out with, it was something like a 600-page report that is a truncation of like the 1,600-page full report.
Right.
That was basically the most terrifying thing in and probably one of the most shameful black eyes to American reputation
Yeah.
that we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
There's like slavery and then this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad. I don't think it's sunk in yet to everybody how bad this is.
Yeah. It basically says that we, that our nation, went ahead and tortured a whole bunch of people, and got nothing for it.
Yeah.
Got nothing of value out of it.
And the great thing about this report is that it named names.
It did name names.
Named who was responsible for crafting the architects of the whole program.
Of the program,
Of the-
right. And it also named who legally
approved it. Yeah.
And said that it was within the bounds of our laws to do it. Which, by the way, it clearly was not.
No.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
We are bound by laws, and those laws are clearly against this behavior.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that we wanted to talk about. But there's another angle to this, which is that two of the main people
Involved in the whole thing.
Including the two jobs that we just described.
Yeah. So
legally,
one of the two architects of the whole program,
right,
is a Mormon.
And
the guy who signed off on it.
Right. The lawyer, the former Bush era assistant attorney general,
Right.
who wrote the memo saying, "Yeah, go ahead." I'm pretty sure that was the entire body of the memo. They're like, "Hey, can we torture?" And he was like, "Yeah, go ahead."
And like with a lot of these things, I don't know that like somebody's religion usually, or even often, or most of the time, even needs to
be mentioned,
be mentioned, or be a part of this whole thing. But the thing that kind of the thing that caught my attention, because I saw this sort of Mormon connection thing, and I just wasn't interested, right? Because it was just like, God, who the fuck cares? It was, if it wasn't a Mormon, it was going to be a Catholic or a Baptist or a Methodist, or and so I was just like, who ultimately, who cares? The headline though that caught my attention was the fact that one of these guys, Bruce Jessen, who was the psychologist who helped design the whole thing, he was called to be a Mormon bishop recently,
yeah,
sort of post all of this stuff,
right?
But
pre-release of this,
pre-release of the documents, report. The timing was not good. He was only bishop for a very short period of time before the church got involved and said no. But becoming a bishop means you're sort of the cream of the crop. You're one of the good ones. You're living your life right. You're a good Mormon, according to the whole whatever.
Maybe we should explain. I think we've explained this before on our show, but it's been a while. So we should explain is that the Mormon Church does not have paid clergy.
Correct.
It's all lay clergy. These are people each ward, which is a parish,
Right.
So each ward has a bishop. So bishop is
at its head.
in any other context, in any other major religious context, he would be considered a priest.
Right.
The parish priest.
Right.
But in Mormon parlance, he's the bishop, and he's called by men
Higher
above
ups.
him to be this in this leadership position in his ward.
Right.
It's basically a full-time job
That you do in the evenings and on the weekends.
that you do in your free time.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah. It's heinous. My dad was a bishop for a while.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, and it switches off every 4-ish years or something. Usually,
There's no set time.
There's no set time, and so
But,
some bishops hang around for a good long time. Other bishops need out.
My bishop, or my dad was. It was probably 5 years.
Okay,
5-6 years probably.
Yeah,
that he was
yeah.
Bishop.
it lasts for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what struck me about the story, see, because what you sort of glossed over is the fact that the LDS Church said, "We're removing you."
Right.
That's a big thing for them to do.
Yeah.
And to me, it's an acknowledgement, or at least it signals some sort of acknowledgement that what he had done, that his role in this torture thing went against Mormon thought.
See, I wouldn't take it there. I maybe I'm more sort of cynical about the Mormons, which is that I think they don't do much of anything that isn't PR motivated.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. They have to find a way to justify it. I mean, I think they did it because there was an outcry about this torturer being a leader in the church.
Right.
And so it is a PR move, but they can't just do it and just because if they just did it without saying anything about it, then they would be accused of caving into social pressure.
Right.
And they can't afford that because all of this comes from Jesus, didn't you know? So to me it's still like their justification for it has to be about, well, we don't agree with this torture thing.
But then the justification is empty and weak and like we know, like I actually saw a Mormon blogger's post that had sort of a headline about the comparing torture to saying the F word.
Oh,
right. So
in Mormon culture,
there are words that are you just do not say. There are things that you just
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Swearing in Mormon culture is
about the worst thing you can do. Right?
Mormons take it
with having a drink of alcohol or having a sip of coffee.
It's so funny how
those things
how
are
seriously that's
so
taken.
Bad. You are so terrible.
Yeah,
and the whole community will shun you for that.
Well, in the Mormon way, which is to just quietly look away and sort of very embarrassedly sort of end the conversation and go somewhere else.
But somebody who designs up a torture system, right? That and promote and doesn't get in the and doesn't it allows themselves to be involved. This was probably going to happen. There were probably people asking for, well, how far can we go? And somebody was going to, they were going to figure out, okay, this is our interrogation system, and it's not going to be pretty, right?
Right.
I mean, but don't you want to be the person who says, who stands up against that and says, no, this is terrible. It's wrong. It's reprehensible. And I, whatever you guys go and do, I will have no part of it.
Well, there's that, or there's the thought of the $80 million.
I knew that's where you were going.
These guys made that. He and his partner made off of designing this damn thing.
Right.
Yeah, they're millionaires, and not only are they made millionaires by this, part of their contract I heard about states that the U.S. government is on the hook for defending them legally if any trouble
God.
comes up.
Oh my God.
So even if we decide to go after them, we will be paying for their
if we go
defense.
after them, we get to pay for it.
On
That's
both sides.
beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
To me,
That should never be set up. That's ridiculous.
right. To me, there are issues here. One of the things I wanted to discuss, because I do want to discuss the concept of torture, and there's a whole lot of people who have been saying that they either defend it by saying we got good information, which this report says we definitely didn't.
Right.
But Dick Cheney's very adamant that we did. I'm going to believe this report over Dick Cheney.
Right. Well, but you can also just step back even one step further, which is the methodology, the torture methodology that they chose to model this whole system on was actually very, very similar to the system that the communist Chinese used against American soldiers. And we know what kind of information they got from our soldiers, and we know that they didn't get any good information.
Right.
And this is the system that we decide to implement when we decide to go out and trying to get good information from people.
Well, in fairness to this Jessen guy and his partner, neither of them had any background that would qualify them remotely to design a torture program. So they had to get their information. They had to go from somewhere.
Oh, let's give them credit. They're willing to also take on a government contract doing something that they have no qualifications for.
Right.
That's a problem
they're
for me
psychologists, but they hadn't made any particular study of torture. I mean, I guess Jessen had been training. One of his things was that he trained. You had told me this morning that he trained guys to
for the Air Force.
Air Force guys to resist torture.
Yeah, interrogation techniques.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's as close as he comes to getting qualified for this. In fairness, it's not like you can find a whole lot of guys around who are experts on how to torture.
Come on. They're out there.
They're out there. Anyway, so but I think more important to me is the question of who are we as a country. And, it's not about how we got the information, even if we could have gotten a lot of good information from them. What are we as a country if we're torturing?
Yeah.
What does it say about us?
Yeah.
That we have values, that we have a system of laws, and those laws matter until we're scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of these things matter a lot until it's really scary.
Yeah.
When it gets really serious, no, it's totally okay to abandon our values. It's totally okay to abandon the things that we hold, most dear.
Right.
Because we're scared. It just seems like an interesting double standard, and one that the religions should be really grappling with right now.
Right.
I mean, at very least, as non-religious people, we are free to say, to not take a position until we've really explored it.
Right.
And we're free to say, maybe this, maybe that, and maybe I can, if an atheist came up to me and said, I actually disagree with you, Dan, about torture, and I think we should torture, and here's why.
Right.
In certain circumstances, I feel like he's at least got a leg to stand on. Because he hasn't taken a set position about how we treat each other.
Right.
Necessarily. I feel like the churches kind of have to. They take set positions. That's their job.
That's kind of that's
they
their
have
thing.
Hard and fast rules.
Dogma.
They have dogma. They are dogmatic.
They love it.
It's their thing. It's their gig. So it's just very strange that all of this is coming from these Mormons,
Highly religious people.
Yeah, this Jay Bybee character who is who is now a federal judge.
Oh yay!
But
that's so good.
At the time was assistant attorney general. A lot of hay was made in the news. Especially the liberal media news. I will say that this is a cheap shot, but a lot of hay was made because apparently he has something hanging in his home that says something to the effect of like, in this home we don't hit, or like he had this. I can't find it right now.
Something for the kids.
Yeah, it was some plaque on the wall that
Oh,
was like
no
this,
hitting.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we don't hurt each other. I think is what it says.
Hurt each other.
It says that in his home.
Oh, but waterboarding's fine.
Totes, my goats.
So honey, little Johnny would not tell me the truth about what happened to the car.
Kids, get in here.
Would you mind taking care of this?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get out the waterboard.
Yep. If you kids won't say what happened, I'm getting two different stories from.
Time for some anal feeding. Anal feeding, everyone.
I'm going to institute facial hold. I'm going to do a tension grasp on you,
Johnny. Until you tell me.
Until you tell me.
Who dented the car?
Yeah. You're not sleeping for a week. That's it. I'm going to play heavy metal music at you. Yeah, I mean...
I'm sorry. I hate to... What is anal feeding? Is it exactly... What is it?
They literally pumped, like, hummus with nuts and shit up people's butts.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you. They did that.
Why?
For no good reason. They claimed at some point, somebody claimed at some point that it was a nutrient thing, but no, it can't really be absorbed that way. It's literally, I think it was just to humiliate them.
Hummus? I mean, I guess at least they chose something nice and soft.
They put nuts in it and raisins. I think they put I don't know.
I think that'd be uncomfortable, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's more about the humiliation of it. Like they're being anally penetrated and then having like
hummus
goo squirted in. I don't know. There's nothing okay about any of it. It's just I don't know where to go with that. But I will say this about Bybee. Here was another thing that jumped out at me. The local media, because you kind of want to see how Utahns respond to Mormons.
Oh yeah,
being tangled up in all of this. I was surprised to see the Salt Lake Tribune, which is the liberal,
quote unquote
ish, rag here in Utah, and the only one that would dare write anything that wasn't just sort of glowing reviews of Mormonism.
Right. Oh, Bishop Justin was a fine.
Well, yeah, exactly.
We love Bishop Justin so much.
Yeah, they'll take whatever tack they can. The other newspaper is the Deseret News, and I'm sure that they were just whatever defending him, whatever.
Yeah.
The headline that I found, one of the headlines that I found in the Salt Lake Tribune was CIA misled BYU grad who wrote memo used to justify torture program. Which to me is like trying to get him off the hook a little bit. Like he wrote it on false information.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Which apparently he did. However, so the fuck what?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the CIA told him. He shouldn't have authorized torture.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So the tack that they took was like, he didn't do it on purpose. They were lying to him. I just think it's more damning, frankly. I mean, again, it's this whole thing of like, oh, well, there's imminent danger. Let's abandon our morals quick.
Right.
Quick, let's abandon it. Anyway, I think it's weird. And I've read a couple of, I've seen a few reactions here in Utah that have been, I've actually been surprised. There has been a little bit of introspection, like, why are we allowing this? Why are we okay with this? And sort of thing. So
there's actually by common consent, I guess, is a pretty prominent Mormon blog.
Oh, okay.
And someone wrote in. Damn, I had the information as to who wrote this, but this was sort of some from a Mormon on by common consent.
Okay.
If we as a people are creating good men who do not understand that it is inherently wrong to torture even the worst offenders, then we are not doing a good job at creating good men. If we create men who understand that torture is wrong in the abstract, but when faced with the pressure of keeping a job, the greed of potential government largesse, the opportunity to justify revenge and torture in the name of national security, they fold and authorize it, we are not doing a good job at creating good men.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of introspection that is rare in the Mormon world.
Oh yeah.
But I welcome it. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, because introspection requires a little bit of questioning.
Right.
And Mormons are not good at questioning what the authorities tell them they should be thinking.
Right. Now it seems to me that the authorities have been largely silent on this.
So the public is running.
So yeah, exactly.
Their own sense of morals, their own right and wrong, can actually be expressed in this around this one issue.
Right.
And when the church takes a stance, then it will be interesting to see where people are willing to speak out.
Yeah.
Or how people are willing to speak out on the
It's
issue.
true.
So anyways.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are willing or want to speak out on these issues, we'd love to hear what you have to say about it. You can write to us again at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Right. The Facebook page is facebook.com/TGIAtheist. You can go in and participate there, or participate on the in the members only lounge, which is you just search for it.
Yeah.
And
TGIA members only.
remember, it's a closed group, so you have to request membership. And I personally go through and I vet you. I Facebook stalk you briefly just to make sure that you're not like there to try to advertise to people or troll or whatever.
Yeah.
And I will kick you off if you're not nice.
You're being snotty.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, of course, to Mackenzie for all of her help on Facebook.
She's amazing, and thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
And thanks to you, dear listener, for listening.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Bye-bye.